Welcome back to Great Minds Think Alike. I'm Gabby.
And I'm Nick.
Today we want to talk about how you need to stop obsessing over things you can't control. Because in a world of shifting markets, external validations and opinions, and unpredictable outcomes, the only thing you can control is your response.
Exactly. And I notice a lot of times most people's anxiety and issues that they have is because they obsess over things that they can't control. So today we want to talk about controlling what you can control, doing what you can do, and letting the rest fall into place. And that works a hell of a lot better than sitting there worried about things that are outside of your reach.
Yep, let's get into it.
Awesome.
All right, so you may notice we look a little nicer today than usual. We were at an open house.
It's nice working with you and being able to do this all, because if you're going to be working and doing things on a Sunday, at least you're doing it with someone you like, right? So
Partners.
So yeah, we're still dressed from it. We came back feeling very motivated, so let's just come record an episode and keep it moving. So
yeah.
We will relax later on tonight after this, that's for sure.
All right, so let's dive into our business segment. The one thing I want to talk about too in our business segment is perfectionism is also something that people obsess over. Done is better than perfect.
Yeah, perfectionism kills progress, because when you want something to be perfect, like we've said in the past, you don't end up executing what you need to do. When it comes to your business, there are a lot of things that you can't control. You know, different markets, the economic time. Like if you're a restaurant owner, you can't help if the economy's falling apart, less people are out to eat. But you can control how good your food is and how good your service is. You know, you can't control certain issues that come up in business, but you can control how you react to them.
Yeah.
So the people who have businesses that sit there and worrying about the markets or the economy and other things that go on, that don't focus on themselves, they're the ones who fail. But the ones who say, screw it, things are going to go wrong. There are going to be bad markets, bad times, but I'm going to show up every day and I'm going to do what I have to do every day because that's what I control. They're the ones that succeed long term.
Yep, people that show up anyway. So things that you can control are showing up consistently, having a reliable team that you know and trust. And again, your response to things. How are you going to react to external events that you can't control?
You can't spend the time worrying like, oh my God, what's the next issue that's going to happen? You have to spend the time thinking, how am I going to solve it when an issue comes up? What am I going to do to be better, right? So how you react to these issues is so much more important than the issues themselves at hand.
And just talking about a team structure here, a lot of people or managers may have trouble letting go of that control, but delegation is freedom.
Being able to delegate things to your team, that's an excellent point, because a lot of people will end up being too busy, they don't delegate, and they don't get as much done, where you can control what you delegate.
You have to reframe losing control. You have control because you are choosing who to delegate to, what task to delegate to, but in return, you're getting more freedom.
Yeah, and that goes into why in your business, it's not a waste of time networking, meeting people, because you need to really select people to work for you and around you that you trust and like. That way you can give up control of certain aspects so that you can focus on the things that are important.
And in businesses too, you can't control getting laid off, but you can control showing up every day, being a good worker. And if you still get laid off, bye. You know, that's redirection.
Yeah,
everything happens for a reason.
Exactly. You could do everything in your power to be valuable for your company where you stay. But let's say it's a layoff that has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with something random. What you can control is what you do after that, your next direction. It may be one door closing for the next one to open.
Yep.
And if you're just stressing, oh my God, layoffs might happen, the economy, it's going to affect your work. It's going to drive you crazy. Be prepared. If a layoff happens, have a resume ready. You know, start talking to people. Maybe talk to a recruiter. Listen, I'm very happy where I'm at.
Yeah.
Recruiters are a great resource. It's
Absolutely.
like I'm super happy where I'm at. However, if there's layoffs, if something happens, here's what I do and here's what I want in the future. You can control your preparation, but you can't control when the layoffs happen. So it's all about you and how you handle these things.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that being said, I want to transition to our lifestyle segment. And I just want to say with that, we have to let go and let God and just stop dwelling on outcomes that haven't even happened yet. That's where anxiety happens, right?
You're always sitting there stressing about the worst possible case scenario can come out. Well, what if this happens? Or I'm nervous about this. Nothing's ever as bad as it seems like it's going to be. Yeah. It's really just the worrying that's the worst.
With our lifestyle, we want to control our inner, not our outer. The overthinking, because that does create a lot of anxiety. And I don't want to say for no reason, because it is good to have a plan B and like be prepared if, worst case scenario. But, spending so much time dwelling on that really is an energy waster. So be prepared, but don't dwell on scenarios that have not happened yet.
Exactly. Another thing just in life, you can't control things that your friends and family do. Right? If you may have some close friends or close family and you may disagree with some decisions they're making or things that they're doing, but if you're way too focused on that and you're like, oh my God, it's just so-and-so, this one did this one did that, it'll drive you crazy. The only thing you can control is your reaction to it. So you just understand it's not you. You can't control other people. They're going to do what they want to do, and just make sure that you're at peace with yourself.
So there's a lot of things that you can't control, but what you can focus on is your routine, your boundaries, your relationships, your reactions.
Yeah, you want to show up every day. You want to realize what you want to do and show up every day, even if it's just a little to work on it.
So we need to stop focusing on the timing of everything because that's not something that we can control. Erase whatever timelines you had in your head because patience is peace.
Yeah, as long as you're doing what you need to do every day, you're showing up every day, say timing out of it, right? Forget the timing, focus on what you want. If you are working towards what you want every day, eventually the time will come.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a little luck that's involved with timing, be in the right place, the right time, like they say. Well, you'll never miss luck if you show up every day.
So let go of the clock and let go of the results because what you can control is how you show up now. So with all that being said, let's get into our real estate segment.
Yeah, and this part with the real estate segment, talk about things you can't control. When it comes to real estate, it's probably the biggest factor out there, just variables, things you can't control that you just have to ride the wave with.
Most of this market is out of our control.
Yeah.
We got to focus on what we can do. And saving, keeping up to date with the real estate market. Even if you aren't looking to sell or buy soon, it's always good to know what's going on because that is your largest asset, your home. So
yeah, you can't control the market, but you can control your knowledge on the market, right? Maybe you don't want to buy right now in the spring, or maybe you don't want to buy in the winter. There's certain things that you could educate yourself on and figure out so that you could control, but you can't control what's happening externally there. When you're trying to buy a home, you can't control what the interest rate is at the time. You can't control home prices. You can't control the inventories out there, but you can focus on what you want and how to get it.
Yeah.
You can control how much you're saving. You can control the areas you're looking at, right? So many people get all worried, rates are high, home prices are high, whatever. You can't control that stuff. You got to just focus on when you're ready. What's your situation and what can you do to be ready?
yeah, and you can't control your offer getting accepted, but you can put your best foot forward and offer the most that you feel comfortable with. You got to accept deals falling through, tenant issues, and potential delays. That's kind of what this market is.
Exactly, right? You can't control if there's one buyer out there that came in so much higher than what the home's actually worth and knows they're overpaying and don't care. You can't control that from happening, but you can control putting in strong, smart offers on houses you like, right?
Yeah.
And if it's not the one, it's not the one. If that happens, it wasn't meant to be.
Big believer in everything happens for a reason, and that would be that scenario.
Yeah, exactly. You may lose some homes before you get one, but that's okay. It's part of the process.
So instead of stressing about the real estate market, let's just come up with a good strategy that works in any market.
So I want to touch base on not just when you're buying a house, even when you own a home, there's certain things that you need to work on that you control that you can't. So let's say you have a house. You can't control what your home's value is over the years. It may be higher some years, lower than others, right? Typically it goes up, but like everything that goes up, it comes in stages. So you can't control what your home is worth in a given year, but you can control the condition of the house, the maintenance of it. Are you keeping up to date with everything? So you could control certain aspects of your property so that regardless of the market, you're getting top dollar in that market.
Yeah. And that's where the long-term game comes in with real estate, keeping your house up to date. And it's something that you can do right now.
Yeah, because again, talking about things you can't control, life happens. What if something happens where you have to move randomly?
Yeah.
Whether it's a good thing like a new job or new opportunity, or a bad thing like a family member getting sick and you have to move to them or something, there might be an instant where, boom, all of a sudden you have to move. You can't control that.
Keep up with what you currently have. That's what you can control. And you can control having a good real estate team on your side. You can control, making sure that your realtor is supporting you in the best ways possible because let's be honest, some agents and some people in business are, they don't have your best interest in mind. So make sure you have a real estate team that's working for your best interest.
Exactly.
So you can control who you work with. and it matters.
It does. Like whether it's in a business of yours, real estate of yours, or just in your life, focusing on things that you can change to better yourself, that's what you need to focus on.
So to wrap it up, let's focus on things that we can control rather than obsessing over things that we can't, because it's a waste of energy.
Exactly. Nothing is more of an energy waster, anxiety booster than focusing on things that you can't control, whether it's in your business, in your life, personal wise, with real estate, like we mentioned. You got to only focus on things that you could take immediate actions to change, and you can't focus on things that are out of your hands.
Yep. Let go and let God, like I said before. So thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe, and we will see you guys next week.
We'll see you next week.